Now I can hear myself too. So thank you very much for being here and welcome. I'm really looking forward to talking to you this afternoon, even though it was supposed to be this morning, because I was getting more and more excited as the morning was progressing. Because all the speakers this morning were really covering my speech. So I can actually have a mastermind session. We can sit around the table and just have a nice chat. Because whatever I want to share with you, you've heard this morning. And luckily, fortunately for me, on the way flying from Netherlands here last night, I changed my presentation en route for some dark reason. So I'm just going to share with you some slides, therefore some thoughts in terms of what I mean when I talk about from invisible to invincible. Because I'm going to share with you part of my life, about my story. I started my life out as a teacher. And I believe still to today, and that was more than 50 years ago, I still believe that teaching is one of those things, an educator is a calling. Special people that get involved in that. And I loved every minute of it. But I never saw a career for me in that because I'm a little bit of a maverick. So I was always in trouble. Because the curriculums are set like this, cast in concrete. Week 1, week 2, week 3, paragraph 1, 2, 2. Not for me. A right brain, dominant right brain, needs change. End result is all that matters. As a manager later on, I always said, I don't care what and how you get to a point. If I say to you, I meet you at 8 at the airport tomorrow morning, that's all I'm interested in. Whether you walk, hike, Uber, get a friend, take the bus, take the train, it's immaterial. 8 o'clock there. So that was always my point of departure, and that was my challenge to education. So I moved into finance, moved into management, and in the last couple of years, I'm living my passion. And I'm living my passion as a speaker and as a coach and a mentor and a trusted advisor. This morning, one of the speakers were talking about what do you want to do? And if you asked me, I would have just said, I am enough. That's how I feel. And the interesting part is, in 2020, just before COVID, I was invited, get a citation, and I did my first international talk right here. And when I walked on the stage and I did this, and I welcomed somebody in my life and my whole body, everything, something just happened that told me, this is where you belong. This is what you really love doing. Okay, so I'll cover some of those elements quickly through my talk to cover the whole concept of invisible to invincible. Where did the concept and the idea come from? I was fortunate enough, a friend of mine had started a radio station called Platinum Gold out in Johannesburg, South Africa. That's where I come from. And he invited me, we know each other through networks, and he invited me to come on his radio station. It was a streamed radio station, so it's online. Although we were talking, there was no conversations. Nobody could, they could WhatsApp in, but not call. And 180 appearances later, I started to just love this. That was my highlight of my week, was Tuesday morning at 10. And we were getting questions and input and stuff from all over the world. I even got books sent to me out of Norway. People listen to radio station. And the theme was work-life balance. And we did not audition anything. There was no say, Bertie, tomorrow at 10 we're going to speak about the subject. 10 minutes before, cold, what are we talking about? Okay? So I could talk from anywhere. I may also say that I actually did one of those Tuesday sessions from my ICU in the hospital because of COVID. So I stretched it a little bit because I wasn't that sick, and everybody around me was, with all due respect, they didn't know where they were. So that was lovely. And one day I was down in the coast, which is the southernmost point of South Africa, Cape Agulhas. I was there on a dune, deciding I'm going to do my talk from there. And I sat on the dune I look over the sea with the lighthouse sort of over my shoulder back, and it dawned on me that my life, and life is very much like it. Because so often we find ourselves amongst people, but lonely. In Afrikaans we talk about alleensaam. So you're with people, but you're alone. It's strange. And I looked over the sea and I said, that's just like a boat on the ocean. It's there. He knows where it is, but nobody else knows. And it's a little speck. So it's actually, by definition, invincible. And what I experienced as a teacher and in my learnings, because I kept developing people, I kept developing my staff, my teams, all throughout my life, I experienced that loneliness of people. And the loneliness that I could now say was their invisibility, was because the whole concept of belonging. The whole concept of belonging. So that's why I want to talk about it. And yes, Albert Einstein, we know that he talks about learning of facts, but is a training of the mind to think. So everything we know starts with a thought. So that's important to remember that. So when I talk about invincibility, and let it ignite the fire of invincibility, because we need to start somewhere. So that's the core and the crux of life. But not all of us start at the same point. That makes education and management, leadership so difficult. I've got teams with different stages of development. I've got a classroom full of students that I need to educate, different stage of development. And I must understand, therefore, that I sit with unique individuals in my class entrusted to me. Okay. So what important therefore is entrusted to me, that uniqueness. I'm saying that every one of us is born unique, gifted by our God, with a unique set of gifts. I believe, and my experience tells me, that lots of people die, never realized what it is, what their gifts were. They never defined their purpose. And that is so important, because if you don't want to be invisible, you've got to find your purpose. Because if you live your purpose, you'll be invincible in what you believe and what you stand for. That's absolutely crucial. And I have seen that, and you've probably seen it yourself throughout your life. This uniqueness, instead of that individual living a life to stand out, they live a life to fit in. They take on a persona, somebody else. Because the fact of the matter is, if I see a person, I can see uniqueness in you, and I can see perfection, and I can see that blue eyes and the gray hair, much more than mine. But that's how we see, we project perfection in other people. We don't know ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. So we don't believe that. So we rather fit in. Okay? And that is probably one of the biggest problems of the world, is that we don't have that uniqueness. And that's where I'm talking about. And on the radio, the question that most came to us was people asking about identity. Who am I? Why am I? What am I? This morning started off by saying, I am. And I'm saying, I want to extend it a little bit further. I'm saying, I am because you are. Okay? So that is the question. Who am I? If I can answer that question, I can follow through with what is my passion. Okay? So we live our lives in the perception and in the definition of others. We want to be like other people because we see the perfection in them. Sport, doesn't matter what. And the saying is, I can't aspire to be like him. That position is already taken by him. So why do I want to be a second him? A carbon copy. I want to be that. I am me. I'm proud to be me. Okay? So that is so important we realize that. Because the moment we realize that, we can start ask the questions what the second speaker was talking about. Where am I going? What would I like to be? Why would I like to be that? What would it be like when I get there? Okay? I can only ask those questions and I know where I am. The same question, therefore, goes, if I want to change. Where do I start to change? I can only start to change from here. But it doesn't help. I go out of the house, go and fetch the firewood, comes back to this position, and put it in the fire, and people say, but you changed, you moved. I moved nowhere. I came back to the exact same point. So if I want to elevate myself and change to be transformed, I need to stretch me from this comfort zone so that I can't get back. I can't get back. I can't back. Eventually, I broke free through this stage of pain to find my true purpose. Because the moment I find my true purpose, with that will go passion. Okay? So with that passion, I can start defining my vision, my purpose. Who am I and why am I? Okay? So that to me is where I want to say. So I'm saying again, when we fit in, we lose the uniqueness and the desire to be different. I ran leadership camps out in South Africa with high school students. And when I get there, what I did, I created jigsaw puzzles, big pieces in wood carved out. And so when the students came there, there's jigsaw puzzles packed out, but the pieces, with the exception of 2, 3, is lying here. So everyone must come and take a piece, find where it fits. Then that's where he sleeps, and that's the table where he sits. So that I can get them to meet up with others. Chaos. Chaos. Because these six came together as friends, came together. They want to sleep together. It doesn't matter where. They sleep together. Chaos. Cry. I had to pack it up and say, no, sleep where you want. Sit where you want. And I started to go through this program explaining this. The third day of the 5th, believe you me, those cliques that came in there, those girls that run behind each other, because they follow that one for some dark reason, has realized whose life they're living. They're actually living that girl's life. And I started to help them to do something. The friendship, those 6 broke up. 2, 3. They're not, the 4th day, they didn't sit together. All of a sudden, they started to develop their own persona. Me. Okay. The way you address your thoughts will empower you. I do a lot of these talks on social media, and it's always a clip with goes there, go with us, and I just thought I'll just use them for today. And that's what I'm saying. The moment I understand where I am, I can answer any question. If anybody wants the slides, give me your email address. I'll just PDF it for you, but by all means, with the love of my heart. Okay? So knowing that is important. So we don't have time, but I've got a program that I call Vision with Imagination, which I help companies and individuals, but mainly companies, and that linked onto the talks of the discussions afterwards, of creating a vision. I passionately believe, and maybe I must ask, how many educators is in the room now? Educators? How many coaches? And how many managers? Excuse me?
Educators within academics or broad?
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. I don't want to touch on toes, but I believe that the old traditional strategic planning, according to me and the way I help my clients, is out of date. Vision, mission, SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Because I believe that's the wrong way of defining your... Oh, I've got 2 minutes left and I've got not even halfway. Just give me 5. Okay. So I can't go through that. But I covered 4 elements. Overview, where we define a vision. And I'll show you a slide, so I won't cover. Insight, introspections, who am I? To the core. And all of us as coaches understand the concept of getting to the core of the why of the individual before we start building up. So I can understand where must I start changing. And the foresight is actually defining your future, because that's your vision. That's where it is. That's where it takes place. Okay? The whole concept of insight comes with introspection. Okay? Be happy with who you are and live your life in the definition of I am me and I'm enough. Success, when you combine passion and purpose, you will be successful beyond your doubt, irrespective of what you're doing. Because a friend of mine, Dr. Pixie, taught me about the 3 Ps, and there's something that you can take with you, if nothing else. 3 Ps. Passion plus purpose equals prosperity. If you drive prosperity, in other words, money, success, fame, without passion and purpose, it's not going to last. You need purpose, you need passion, and prosperity will come automatically, and lots of it. Because everything you do here, you love doing. You can't get enough of doing that. And that is, we were talking about happiness. Happiness in the workplace is finding your passion. Do what you love doing, and then you will do it all your life. Not all of us has got the ability to find that specific job, but at least we can fill our life like a whole brain thinking. If I love people and my job is not about people, I can find something Rotary or something and join them and fulfill that so I can live that passion of mine. Okay? Okay, so I wanted to cover just one element of what I'm busy with in the Netherlands at the moment. My daughter moved there, and I'm starting to work with the universities to create something. And I think that latches on to from inside outside. Many universities worldwide have started thinking about entrepreneurial thinking or entrepreneurial mindset in business and in organizations. And not just educating courses on entrepreneurship. No, teaching everybody to think entrepreneurial. I'm busy with guys in Ghana, Accra in Ghana, where we're trying to change the school, the senior school level, to bring in entrepreneurial thinking. Bring in soft skills, that the people can't think differently. So it's critically important, but that is extremely difficult, because that implies, once again, teachers must change, or educators must change. And they will change there. Almost sometimes feel the water with both feet. But I mean, they're not going to move from this position. You're not going to get me somewhere. So that's a difficult one. Okay? But that's so important. Because if we can get entrepreneurial thinking in everything, and we build ecosystems around entrepreneurial thinking in the workplace, change becomes so much easier. Okay. Invincibility, fostering a mindset is what it's all about. In education, it starts with the educators at all education levels. The entrepreneurs, as mentors, I use them investors to create momentum, and businessmen as coaches, and leaders as trusted advisors. The whole concept of the investors is, one of the drives and the problem that investors have is that they are looking for founders and startups, new businesses that can be scaled up, in which they can invest. Those people have got billions of dollars, euros to invest. But 0.4% of these founders and startups that build a company that outlasts 5 years. So they need to be helped. So we need to instill those kind of thinkings into their mindset. So just a second on vision. So I believe the only way to effectively create a vision is to elevate everyone around the boardroom table into space, where there is no sacred cows, and there's nobody knows more than others. Because the problem in a boardroom is sometimes the CEO or the manager facilitate the process, and everybody else is there contributing according to their line, and they protect their departments. Elevate them into space, you create a vision that's incredible. I've taken companies through that, because I say to them, why do you want to be the best baker in this town? Why can't you just be the best baker and multiply yourself into the other towns and in the district? Think big, but if you elevate you in space and you look down on the globe, what do you call it? Down to the Africa, the globe, down to the, what it will, what the word, what they're looking for? Africa or, okay, but you go, you zoom down from space down to the boardroom and you seek for a definition. So I'm going to say 21st century will be kind to those that's stuck in the comfort zone. I'm going to stop here because that's all time I've got. That's all I wanted to share because I think a lot of what I was now covering and I was trying to put together, build together, was covered this morning. Remember the 4 Ps and think about a vision that you can create in space. Because if you create that vision for your company and it becomes clear enough, I'll conclude, then the question is, if your vision in your future is so clear, why don't you live it in the here and now? Thank you very much. Sorry for that.